Welcome to the Real Kyper at Noon show, episode 50. How do I know that? Well, my good friend and intern Michael Bannock Jr. walked into the room and said, "Hey, happy 50th." I'm happy 50th. You're a little late there, bud. I'm 54. He said, no, episode 50. I go, episode 50 already? Yes, we've polished off 50. Or at least 49 going into today. So thanks for joining us. And again, if you're a full first-time watcher, please subscribe, hit the like button for a welcome back for Doug Maclean, who's in a tropical storm or he's waiting one. And I thought maybe when the RV pulled back into Summerside, PEI, that was the tropical storm off your golf weekend. Mac, but that's not the case. But we've got so much to get into with Doug Maclean and all of you watching and listening. Of course, Game 3 tonight. Stamkos or no Stamkos, he's close. I think he's ready. What's with John Cooper? Put him in already, and let's get this thing going. We also got a ton of news around the National Hockey League. Kevin Weeks kind of shook it up this morning. We know him as an analyst on the NHL network. He put out a tweet about an hour ago saying, as per what I'm told, the Penguins are trading forward Patrick Hornquist to Florida in exchange for defenseman Mike Matheson. So we'll talk about that. And again, the beauty of going live and live streaming for all of you now watching and listening is, I made some phone calls off of that. And the word I get, and trust me, I know Kevin Weeks. I know he's got contacts, and I know he's dialed in. And where there's smoke, there's usually fire. But what I am told right now is that this is still premature, that there were no trade calls in waiting. Certain people have not been told or notified. And then there's this small little issue when it comes to Patrick Hornquist as well. A no trade clause. He's got a complete no trade clause, is my understanding. And I'm not sure that's been addressed just yet. So we'll keep an eye and our ears open moving forward off of this trade. But there's no question that Pittsburgh and Florida, per Kevin Weeks' report, have something going. But does it get completed? Does it get to a point where perhaps Hornquist green lights it? Maybe that's the only thing holding it back. We don't know at this point, but we do know that we were told up until moments going on air here with all of you that the term that I used or heard or was given is premature on that trade. So why don't we bring in the guy that's been a regular contributor to Tropical Storms here on the Real Kyper at Noon show, Doug Maclean. Mac, when I tell you Hornquist for Matheson, what do you think of?
Well, look, Matheson really fell out of favor in Florida the last couple of years. He was one of their top prospects coming out of college. I believe he was a second-round pick, and it just hasn't worked out. He's been making too much money. But Hornquist has been such a great contributor to the Penguins' playoff success. But I don't get the trade that would bring a 33-year-old into Florida in exchange for a young defenseman. I just don't see it. And Matheson's got a lot of term, which would bother me if I'm Pittsburgh, and Hornquist has got a lot of miles on his body, which would bother me if I'm Florida. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be quite honest.
Well, I look at it, Mac, and I'm not sure if it's. I'll give you my problems for your problems. I'm not. I don't see strong solutions for either club, to be quite honest with you. And I like Hornquist, and we know Crosby liked him when he needed to have a guy drive hard to the net to open up lanes. And there's no question that he can do that, but he's also a little injury prone. And at age 33, he's got a lot of mileage there. And I don't see the benefits of having 3 more years left at his age. And what is he, 33? Is that where we have him? 33 years of age. So I also heard that Matheson, that they try to move him at the trade deadline, that he is not in the good books. And
No.
I'm okay with him, Mac, but on Florida, he can be a top 4 kind of minute guy, but on a really good contending team, challenging Mac, I don't see him as a top 4 guy.
Look,
he wouldn't be a top 4 guy on Dallas. He certainly wouldn't be one on Tampa Bay. And that's when you start picturing teams contending for a Stanley Cup. Your blue line has to be absolutely solid. And he's a 5-6 on a contending team. He's not a top 4.
Well, I mean, Florida's blue line was one of the big question marks for the last number of years. I mean, the young guys there, they brought in Yandel. They signed him to a big deal. They signed Demers to a big deal. They had to move him on. Ekblad is on a huge deal and hasn't become the star. Look, Ekblad's been good, but he hasn't become the star that people projected him to be. That's for damn sure. And Matheson couldn't play regular in that group with that blue line. I don't see how, Jimmy's at a stage, and Jimmy Rutherford is at a stage in Pittsburgh that he's trying to get back into the Stanley Cup conversation. I mean, how does Matheson help the Stanley Cup conversation in Pittsburgh? I don't see that as a viable deal. And yeah, Hornquist would be good with Barkov, I guess, if he could keep up to him. I just don't see it as a viable deal for either team, to be quite honest. I don't know how it gets Florida ahead, and I don't know how it gets Pittsburgh ahead.
Nick Kypreos, Doug Maclean here on the Real Kyper at Noon show. First-time listeners, please subscribe. Hit the like button. We're going to boost tonight's Game 3, and we'll give you the details on that for blitzbet.eu. And remember, there's a Harley there somewhere. As soon as you make a bet, a potential Harley-Davidson that you could win, we will present at the end of the Stanley Cup final. We're discussing a potential trade between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers involving Patrick Hornquist and Mike Matheson as well. I look at that Pittsburgh blue line, Mac, and I think I had 5 guys at $3 million or over with terms. So Dumoulin's at 4-1, Johnson's at 3-2. They've got Letang at $7 million bucks, and then they also got that Pettersson that they signed recently at $4 million for 5 more years. I don't know where Jimmy thinks he needs to add a Matheson with 6 years, and Marino,
Marino was their best defenseman in the playoffs. The Marino kid out of, I believe it was Harvard. He was their best defenseman, and he was for a good portion of the year. So I just don't see where this is a fit for Pittsburgh. I mean, if you're that desperate, get involved in the Tanev sweepstakes. You may get him at a price that's, well, you're going to pay more than you are for Matheson, but at least you're not giving up Hornquist. So, I mean, obviously they may have to move Hornquist money. That could be it, but they're not saving any with bringing in Matheson. Both. I mean, I like Hornquist's deal more than I like Matheson's. With what's he got left? 4 or 5 years left on his deal? How does that make sense?
Matheson's got 6 years left at 4.
That's frightening. That's frightening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know where this makes any sense.
You really give, Jimmy Rutherford, God bless him. We love him for so many reasons. Most importantly, he keeps it interesting for us. He always gives us something to talk about. And we're grateful.
Jimmy's won a couple of cups or 3, I believe, and he's going to be he is a Hall of Famer. And, he's desperately trying to keep this team in the march with Sid and Malkin and Letang at their age. But I don't see how this moves them any closer unless they've got something up their sleeve. Does Sullivan know Matheson? He played college in Boston. Is there some connection there that they think they can get more out of him? Like, Matheson's a highly, highly thought of kid. I believe it was Boston College he came out of, and he was a highly, highly thought of kid. But Dale Talon and them, he drove them crazy.
Well, Mac, we're still going to certainly talk so much more around the league. You mentioned Tanev as well, and we're going to get into a little bit of that with the Vancouver Canucks. We also got our lead thumbnail as well with Alex Pietrangelo, and really the talk about Toronto. And you know, it just seems to kind of snowball, but media driven more than anything. We'll get into that a little later. Why don't we touch base on Game 3 right now, and whether or not we are going to see a Stamkos sighting. Do you expect Stamkos to play? I certainly do. Many do.
Yeah, I got to believe he's going to come into the fray here. I mean, look, their power play did come alive. Kucherov, Point, Palat, the great plays. They changed their. You see, I chuckled when I saw Cooper congratulating himself and the assistant coach for making the adjustment on the power play. I thought they're going to start high-fiving and giving each other hugs. Yeah. That, oh my God, aren't we smart? We fixed the power play.
Yeah. Well, just like we drew it up, right?
Just like we drew it up. We're smart, which is good. And you know what? I don't blame them. Take credit. You don't get a lot. Take it when you can. But look, you got Stamkos there. We talked about it before. I mean, you got 7 defensemen dressing. You didn't have Shen Bogosian last game. It's an easy thing to put him in and play him 10, 12 minutes and see what he does on the power play.
But you don't get that sense that there's this urgency or there's this pressing need to get your superstar back in the lineup. I think any other team would feel it, but there is a sense, Mac, that he's ready, that he's chomping at the bit here, and it's Cooper that it feels to me like is holding him back for maybe just one more game, and maybe that speaks to Cooper's comfort zone on his lineup and his depth. But the longer you go, if you sit Stamkos out again tonight, it makes it that much harder for him to get a feel or a pickup of the games in game 4 or 5. And if you need him in 6 or 7, don't you want more touches and feels under his belt? Get him in now.
Well, and you know what, you wonder, is Cooper really in love with Stamkos? I used to chuckle when I heard about Stamkos went into Toronto and interviewed, and he left the meeting, and rumblings were that he said, you mean I got to put up with Babcock? I might as well go back and put up with the guy I know a little better. I mean, so I'm not sure there's a whole lot of love in this Cooper-Stamkos relationship. So, this is a good test for that relationship, because if Stamkos is ready and he's saying he can play and the doctors are saying he can play and Coop is keeping him out, that would shock me.
Well, and I don't know.
It doesn't
listen. Whether it's Steven Stamkos or Nick Kypreos, you never want to feel like the team could totally win without you.
No, you do not. Especially when you're
I don't know if that's really a good thing for Steven Stamkos long term here.
No,
is that
for sure?
Mac, take a look at that their salary cap scenario. Okay, take a good look at who they still have to sign moving forward, who they're committed to, and where Stamkos is on the depth chart in terms of most important or the irreplaceable. I don't know what the word is, but you get a sense that Cooper's probably committed a lot more to Kucherov and Braden Point. Right. And, even when you look at the kids like Gord and Anthony Cirelli, and I just don't know where Cooper has Stamkos in the pecking order.
And we haven't mentioned that they've got to sign Sergachev yet, who without a doubt would be their number 2 defenseman after Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev. And to me, Sergachev is moving ahead of McDonough.
Chernak, and their big guy, the defenseman, he needs a new contract too.
Right. Yeah.
So
you know what? There's going to be some real challenges salary cap wise. But again, if you're Cooper, the last thing you're worried about today and tonight in your Stamkos decision is salary cap. Your decision is who can help us win. Who the hell can help us win? And we need
Stamkos can help you win. You said it on the power play.
Right.
Okay, Stamkos can help you. We expect him to play.
Can you depend on Kucherov to make two unbelievable plays from the half wall again? I mean, the passes he made, you know, the one to point and the pass he made to Palat on the slap pass. Come on, those. If Dallas allow those seams tonight, they won't win the game. And Stamkos gives you a better chance. So,
well, and
I know they're smart, these coaches, but
Palat to be on his strong side wall and have the ability to take it on his forehand and pivot and turn it and still shoot it in an empty net. That's not happening again. You need that right-handed shot on Stamkos.
Totally.
And you need the one-timer tonight. You will never, Palat, I'm sorry, you're never going to get that time again on your power play on your strong side to shoot it in an open net. That's not happening. I
could have done it. That's how much time he had.
In your RV, you could have done it.
So we'll see. That is the intriguing thing in tonight's game. And you know, I'm loving the other thing about tonight is Vasilevsky versus Hudobin. To me, it's not close who's the better goaltender, but Hudobin, I thought he was going to break the other night. Then he bounced back after the 3 goals in the first period. He bounced back real strong. Vasilevsky, he's been good, but he hasn't been as great as he was earlier. Who wins this goaltending battle, and who wins the battle between Point's line and Sagan's line? The donut line. The Sagan's line, I know that's an old term, but
it is.
Like, seriously, Sagan.
Center. Come on. You cannot call Sagan a donut with no center because
Ian Pulver just had a stroke.
Yes, he's not very happy. He's not very happy with you. And Mac, it's not I've said this. I don't think he's playing poorly, and I don't think that if you're
2 goals in 22 games, are you kidding me?
I can read the stats. Okay, I can read the press clips.
But can't kiss Pulver's butt on this show.
What you don't see,
you got to tell it the way it is. Don't kiss up to Ian Pulver.
Wait, it's not Ian Pulver. It's Rick Bowness playing him 21 plus minutes, the most of any forward. You don't play a guy 21 minutes in a close game, which it was in game 2 after they got the 2 goals back, without finding ways to still make a contribution, Mac, even if you're not scoring.
I know, I get it. Bowness has said, look, he's helping us win. I get all the BS that's coming out of them, but you need Sagan to score some goals for this hockey team.
I get that. But they've also shown that they can find ways to even win when he's not. So we've talked a little bit in the conference.
So you're agreeing with me. He's got to be better.
Well, I like their chances a lot better if he scores.
Then thank you. That's all I was looking for. Thank you.
I don't like their chances of ultimately winning the Stanley Cup if he remains 2 for a gazillion in the playoffs.
Exactly.
So I understand that. So do we need to kind of revisit what we did with Barry Trotz in the Barzell line with Eberle and Lee, where just break them up, just start the game, put them on, give them some different looks. You can always go back to it, but isn't it time now for Rick Bowness to kind of alleviate that? I know Mac is a player, whether I was a 4th liner like myself or even the frontline guys, every once in a while when you're stuck, you'd like to look over your shoulder and see a coach to try to help you alleviate some sort of tension by giving you a different feel or a different look. That's what needs to happen.
He broke the lineup early in the early series in the playoffs, whether it was the the Calgary series, Colorado series, he mixed it up. He hasn't yet in this. I think it's time to mix them up a little bit. But I'm glad you turned and came to my side on Seguin, because you were hesitating badly there, and it didn't look good on you. It really didn't. So, mix it up a little bit, give him a little different look tonight, and see what shakes. But they've got to get him going. But look, and I know I'm kidding. He has helped them win, but they need him to. This is a star. This is a 40-goal scorer.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Anyway, Jamie Benn can't carry this team night after night offensively.
No.
And Kiviranta and Garyanov and
yes,
you
can only go to the well so many times with those guys.
I hope Blake Como can play, because that Cogliano Como line has been Dickinson has been a real good shutdown line. They need those guys healthy too. So I'm not sure on Como.
What I saw off that Ryan McDonough crunch, and it was a crunch, Mac.
Big time.
And Blake Como's a big guy. He's a strong guy.
Yeah.
There must have been some serious damage to that shoulder.
Oh,
I saw a separated shoulder. I saw a dislocated shoulder. I saw something shoulder. We don't know for sure. I'm just speculating on what my eyes saw. But I don't see him playing tonight. And here's a guy that you said is a great checking guy. He's physical, penalty killer. They already lost Fasca. And, and you look at Rupe Hintz, and he's barely hanging on. He's showing everything that he's got as well. And I thought he was actually really good in game 2. But you don't know from game to game who stays and who goes. But Blake Como, to me, would be a very tough loss, as you just mentioned.
Big time. So it's an intriguing. I mean, this is a really tough call this series. I'm picking Dallas to win tonight, and but Hudobin's starting to make me a little bit nervous. I know maybe it shouldn't. Stamkos comes in, that should give the power play a look. I mean, there's a lot of variables here with both groups, but it's a tight series. And I'll tell you what, Dallas are playing vicious. They're playing vicious, and they're playing physical. It's going to be interesting to watch Tampa Bay versus Dallas in the physical side of things. McDonough puts Como out. We've seen Kucherov go. I know he said he went to fix his visor. He was crunched a couple of times. Points banged up a little bit, but playing his ass off. He's been such a character guy and such a talent. He looked to have a little more jump. So this is a big game turning point wise tonight.
When you look at and it was vicious last year, Mac, with St. Louis and Boston. It was vicious, but the pace of play and the speed last year, I found way faster than this one. This one is more of a grinding.
Yeah.
And when you got those wily veterans like Corey Perry that can slow things down by putting somebody in a headlock
with your stick, a headlock with your stick. So 30 plus years of kicking around hockey. I've never seen that where you put a guy in a headlock and you got a chokehold with your stick.
Yes.
What is that all about? Where the hell did that come from?
No. He's had that in his bag for a long time.
Have you ever had that happen to you in your career?
Oh,
a headlock with a guy's stick?
Fingers in my eyes. Yeah, I think I've seen it all. I've seen it all.
I can imagine, but that was dirty. Oh my God, that was dirty.
I'm okay with the style of play in this, and it's
loving it.
It's the hard part, Mac, for me and everybody else I'm sure is watching, is just that level of thinking that you're reading into something, and then a team can dominate now one period and then disappear the next. There is really no such thing as any type of longevity when it comes to momentum. There's just no way you can pick it up. You would think, bizarre. Dallas loses game 2, Mac, and you would think that they'd have some sort of edge coming into game 3 because they were able to crawl their way back out of a 3-0 deficit and make a game of it. But still, the game got bookend with a bad first and a not great third and a great second. So where are we on momentum?
I'm blown away. I think the lack of fans has really affected momentum changes in games. I really do. I've never seen a lot of this where you trail 3-0 after the first period. Then you have to hang, then Tampa have to hang on basically to win, dominate it in the second and third. But we've seen like 3-0 and 4-0 leads at playoff time disappear. That happens the odd time in the regular season more and more. But you don't typically see this in a Stanley Cup final where there's 3-goal swings in games. I mean, this is crazy. So what is causing it? It's got to, we have to blame it on the bubble, don't we?
Sure.
I mean, I think it's the bubble, and I think it's also guys seeing their room service bills when they go to check out. I hear that when guys are going to check out, they see their room service bills and they're losing it. Like room service bills through the roof, and it's especially tough when your team isn't giving you any meal money. Imagine what would happen to Jeff Rimmer if he was in there and didn't get his meal money for a couple of days. I mean, it would ruin his life.
Wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. ESPN.
So there's different pressures on players, and obviously being in the bubble, and the room service bills are one of the pressures I think that's causing. It's got to be.
ESPN came out with an interesting article where they talked to, I don't know, a dozen players describing the bubble. And if you haven't picked it up, give it a read. And
I haven't seen it.
I'm the only thing I'm thinking about was, guys, you got another week to go. Couldn't you just shut up and just wait before you start shitting all over the bubble? Please. Let us get through presenting the Stanley Cup.
Article. I'll have to look it up because I've been chirping a fair amount about it.
Yes,
myself,
you have.
But anyway, that's okay.
Yeah, but I am not sure how happy the league would be that players are taking away a little bit of a Stanley Cup final. But it is what it is, and for the most part, Mac, I don't care. You can say all you want about room service and lack of what facilities to go golf or whitewater rafting or whatever the brochure said to you guys prior to committing to the bubble. It's still better than our alternative, and it was better for you, not just because of the Stanley Cup, because it saved you guys what, 200 million, 300 million in escrow, and let's call it what it is. Okay, great. You got a chance to play for the Stanley Cup, but your first commitment was to protecting your pockets as best you could.
Yeah, big time.
That's the bottom line, and that's a win-win. That's a win-win
that's
under horrible circumstances.
Yeah, so that's got to be part of it. You know what? I'm going with Dallas, and I'm uneasy doing it. I know you're going to pick Tampa because you're a Stamkos guy.
Well, I said Tampa Bay in 6. So we've got to be we owe Dallas another win. This might be it. Game 3 might be their best chance to make this a 6 or 7 game series. So I don't see it going 7, certainly if Dallas can't win tonight. But we'll see it. We'll see how it plays out. And I think Jordan, we're going to boost this game too up for blitzbet.eu, correct?
Yeah, we have a couple boosts actually. I don't know. Does Stamkos coming back change any of your thoughts? If he does play, does it change how the line should be or what we should pick?
Well, I look at I think Stamkos is going to need a couple of games to really come in and get a comfort zone, and I would hope that Tampa feels like enough's enough and he's ready to go. I do know that he did leave the bubble. And I don't know whether or not a lot of people know that, but he did leave for personal reasons, and he returned. And if you're going to return to the bubble, it's just not to cheer the guys on. So I got to think his intentions were to come back and to play. And if, the sense is that he looks good, he feels good. And, I would think that Tampa want to get him in as early as possible. So if that's the case, and he needs a game or two, I don't think Jordan necessarily lends me to believe that, this is a slam dunk for Tampa right away. It may take him some time. As great of an athlete as he is, it may take him a game or two to really feel comfortable to be an X factor.
Well, I wonder if the betting markets feel the same. I guess we'll talk about that tomorrow. But tonight we have a night of underdogs, basically. We're boosting the money line for the Stars at plus 175. We're boosting the under at 4.5 to plus 250. And then the biggest long shot of them all, our boy Tyler Seguin, going to score at plus 350.
At plus 350.
Oh, so you did get a text from Pulver then if you're giving Sagan the winner. Oh my God.
No, that's but we're just he's due. Okay. He's
damn
he's
right.
A library book. He's well overdue. He's your high school library book. He's way overdue. So
yep. Good job.
Well, the other factor too, I like the under so much, Mac, because there's such an emphasis from coaches like yourself to really hammer to the players, stay out of the box. If there's not a bigger example than Game 2 for Dallas, it's watching you go down 2-0 in the first period on a couple of power play chances.
Big
so if whether you're a fourth line slug like me or one of the top guys, it's going to be hammered to you about 10,000 times. Stay out of the box. I never, even though I needed to play on the edge, Mac, I just kept repeating to myself, do not take a penalty. Do not go to the box, feel shame, and then come out down a goal, because it is now the difference between winning and losing and could cost you the cup.
Especially with Tampa, if they get that power play going, the Kucherov point, Stamkos, Hedman, Palat combination, throw in Killorn. I mean, this is a potent power play when they get it rolling. So you got to stay out of the box. You got to stay out of the box if you're Dallas.
Okay, so we've got Dallas winning tonight, and we look no further than that. So let's kind of move it forward here, Mac, because we've talked a lot about Alex Pietrangelo. A lot of noise on him. Whether or not you're St. Louis or his representation, of course, is Newport, one of the biggest agencies in hockey.
See the jersey up here?
Right. Yeah, I see the Leaf or jersey.
I have to just interrupt for 1 minute. I've got the Leafs up here because of the Pietrangelo talk. And for the money he wants, he must be Bobby Orr for the money he wants.
Okay.
Like Newport, they think they've got the next Bobby Orr at 30 years of age for the money they want.
Well, Mac, they've managed to do pretty well in their business.
They're terrific. Terrific.
Regarded as one of the most powerful agencies on the planet.
Yeah.
So,
and they can get mad at you with the best of them too. I've experienced it.
Hold on. So the point I was going to make is, for the most part, we all heard behind the scenes that the negotiations weren't going well. We also had heard when St. Louis made a couple of moves, including Justin Falk and Scandella, and signing those contracts right away irked Pietrangelo. But other than that, it kind of stayed kind of quiet until this past, 4 or 5 days. I mentioned the other day, Drager first got it going by saying that talks have been completely broken off. And, it depends on your interpretation of what that entirely means. I had tweeted earlier that there's still an 8-year deal on the table for him at $8 million. And it's really up for Pietrangelo to now basically, I guess, accept it or start working around the perimeters of a $64 million contract, Mac. But it's really, it opened up in the last 3 days here. So my question to you now is, how do you see this thing playing out, and where do you see it kind of going?
Well, like, first of all, there was rumblings that it was a $7+ million deal is what it was out there, and that there was buyout situations that they weren't totally comfortable with, or some of the terms that weren't really comfortable. Then you come out with, and that's the first time I've seen it, with you coming out at 8 times 8. And I'm thinking, how do you leave St. Louis if you've got 8 times 8 at $64 million, and you are going to move on for what, $300,000 more a year over 7 years, roughly?
He cannot get 8 anywhere else. Just for those of you watching,
exactly,
aren't well versed, you can sign an 8-year deal with your respective club. But if you go to UFA, you don't get 8, you get 7, which would have to put him at $9 million to earn the same amount of money, basically. But of course, not give up the extra year.
So we know he's a heck of a player. He's 30 years of age. He's in his prime. He was a horse in the playoffs this year. He was last year. Prior to that, I was a little nervous where he was going, but he's been a very, very good player. We know that Vegas are in love with this guy, and we know that Vegas will desperately try to move Stastny and Fleury to try to make room so they can sign him, and they need him on that blue line if they're going to really contend, or if somebody like him, I guess. We know that Toronto are in the mix, and they're going to have to make some drastic moves cap-wise to bring him in. But if you're bringing him in at $9+ million on 7 years, that is a scary, scary deal to put. I know he'll help you. I know he'll help you for the next 3 or 4 years. I know that. But where is he the last 3 years of this deal? And with the dollars and with a flat cap, I think this is a tough, tough deal. And I don't get why he would leave for that difference. Unless he wants to. But I know one thing. You know how many teams need a right-hand defenseman right now? That's a number one pairing.
It's been that way for 3 years now.
Right. I mean, Vegas definitely do. Toronto do. Winnipeg do. Calgary do. I mean, it goes on and on across the league. They're hard to. So he's a commodity, and he's going to probably get his money. So I just don't understand. Obviously, he's really pissed off. Somebody's pissed him off, and you talked about these other signings, if that's the part of it, but I don't understand it.
They still want him. They're ready to commit 8 times 8 to him.
Big time. So, I was shocked, Nick, that was the commitment. I was.
Yeah. So, kind of, it's ironic a little bit because we just spoke of Steven Stamkos, and doesn't it almost have a feel of a Steven Stamkos going into his UFA, where he takes it all the way, and then of course, earlier you joked around about meeting Toronto and rather deal with Cooper than Babcock and leaving, but
I wasn't joking, Nick.
The feel, Mac, is that Stamkos kind of woke up one day and he said, I'll stay with what I know. And it was a Stevie Yzerman kind of take it or leave it kind of offer. And that's where this Pietrangelo really feels with Doug Armstrong and that ownership group, that this is it. If you want to go and shop it like Stamkos did.
Right.
And then we hope you come to your senses like Stamkos did coming back to Tampa. It's kind of eerily the same.
I'm blown away that St. Louis stepped to the plate like they did for this. I mean,
Mac, he's the captain. They won a Stanley Cup.
Oh, I know.
They've got season ticket holders. They're going to make a statue for this guy.
But where are they in building their team? That's the challenge with Parayko there, and the young players they've got to get in there, continue to move along in their lineup. I think it's a great commitment. And it tells you how badly they want him. if they're making an $8 million offer. Unfortunately, it appears he wants over 9. And you've been saying that for a month, that he wants over 9. And where is he going to get 9?
Well,
and who can move the money to get him? Is it Vegas? Is it Toronto? Is it who? Who else is going to get into?
We're going to get into the. You mentioned Vegas. We'll get into the Toronto scenario in just a moment here. But as someone that's been on the other side of UFAs and making tough decisions on re-signing players, how long does St. Louis wait? Because as you had said, there's other guys, there's other commitments, there's making room for him. And even at 8 times 8 in St. Louis for Pietrangelo, they're going to have to move a contract or two here. And how long do you wait if you're Doug Armstrong, or do you just go about your business at some other point? My question is, do you take the 8 times 8 off the table anytime soon, or do you wait it out knowing that you don't really know when next season's going to start?
Well, you know what? I know this. I wouldn't want to be laying the 8 times 8 out and having him shop it. I know that. If I'm offering 8 times 8 and I know he's out shopping it, that it wouldn't be staying at 8.8 for very long. If it's in fact true that they are shopping the 8 times 8.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Newport wanted 9. You knew it. I don't blame Newport. He's the premier free agent defenseman available. They've got to ask for maximum dollars because of the demand for a player like this by a number of teams. We know, so I don't blame the player. I don't blame them. But I know one thing. If I'm St. Louis, I'm not letting them shop it for very long.
So part of the issue, of course, for players today and UFAs and what they've been able to do in the last few years is build these bulletproof contracts, Mac, that are buyout proof. Yeah. And that comes into play with large signing bonuses, which we know isn't really Doug Armstrong or the St. Louis Blues style. But there has to be a little bit of wiggle room for your captain and the face of your team that led you to a Stanley Cup. I can't believe that they couldn't find a meeting of the minds on that. And Doug would have to bend a little bit on it.
But you know what bothers me is when I look at these signing bonuses that teams have given, and I look right at the Toronto Maple Leafs and Tavares and Matthews and Marner and the signing bonus money that has been paid up front for these guys is unbelievable. I can only imagine going to my owner and saying, yeah, I need $50 million in signing bonuses. I got these 2 players or 3 players that I have to pay this. And like I can't imagine those conversations.
Okay,
so
but Matt,
we know Toronto can do it. Can St. Louis really come up with this kind of cash?
They can't. They can't.
Yeah,
and that's
right. They can't.
That's where Toronto needs to flex their muscle because they want to tell Pietrangelo that the number on paper looks bigger in St. Louis, but I'm gonna create it for you that the number is bigger for you here, even though it doesn't look like that. I can give you what, over $30 million in 13 months, Mac.
Exactly.
13 months.
Who can do that in the league?
So if I'm Kyle Dubas and I'm Brendan Shanahan, I'm using every bit of my muscle.
Damn right.
If that gives me an advantage and you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah, and we know it's happened time and time again, and it's been Tavares wanted to come home. Yeah, right. He also wanted the signing bonus money up front. And I mean, we know that San Jose were in it right to the end, and I guess they were prepared to pay it. I don't know how many can actually. I can't imagine going to my owner and asking for that. I just couldn't imagine. So that will be a real test. And look, it's a great bargaining situation for his agent and for Pietrangelo to get the money up front as much as he can. as he can, and it's a huge part of this deal. It is. Now, making space for him is another challenge.
So,
and they're going to have to do that.
Let me ask you now, if because now that it's real public, the two teams that get the most attention for Pietrangelo now is Vegas and Toronto. And I don't know. I mean, I grew up in Toronto. I played for the Leafs. I've covered the Leafs as a broadcaster. I know the power of the media here, and I just don't know whether or not it's just media driven to get Pietrangelo and Toronto tied in together. How realistic is it when you look at what Kyle Dubas would have to do to get Pietrangelo in a Leaf jersey?
Well, the problem he's got is what we've talked about with John Tavares and Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Riley coming up and a goaltending situation coming up. How can they do this and build a team? How can they have these five? If Pietrangelo comes, how can they have these five guys at this kind of money, or six guys, and build a team? I don't know if it's possible.
No, it's not possible.
That's right.
And now,
so is it media BS?
Whether you're no, Alex, it may not be media BS entirely. I just threw it out there because it is driven, of course, through the media. The hype is always driven through the media. We know
so I took the Leafs jersey down because it looks like they're out of the mix. Oh, there's a plug in the wall. I got to get that plug removed there.
So you got to plug the Leaf jersey in it. Give them some energy. But Mac, for Pietrangelo to end up a Leaf, it means that if you're Kyle Dubas, you got to eat some crow here and move William Nylander. There's just no other way about it.
And I would feel if I could move Nylander and one other guy, like if I could beg somebody to take Kerfoot and move Nylander out, I'm on board all day long. But you've got to move Nylander 6.9, and he's based on what he's been paid up front, he becomes reasonably attractive for real dollars. And Kerfoot at 3.5 or whatever he's at can't be there as a third line guy for me. So that's flexibility. That's what they have to do.
If you find a way to move Nylander's money out, and again, you can't add payroll. You can't add payroll back. So what are you getting for Nylander and Kerfoot? And if it's just,
I know one thing, if I'm dealing for Nylander and I know how, if I get a call from Kyle Dubas knowing that he wants me to take Nylander, I'm holding his ass to the fire because I know why he's calling me. He's calling me because he wants to move Nylander and he's bringing in Pietrangelo. So what do? I'd make him pay a big price if he wants me to take Nylander's 6.9 cap.
But you're also getting hold on. You're also getting a 30-goal scorer here. I'm not giving him away for free.
No, but I'm making sure it's an unbelievably good deal for the acquiring team. And I know Nylander's a good player. And I think if he goes somewhere, he'll still be that 25 to 30 goal scorer is what he is, which there's not many of them out there. He's still a real commodity and he's a good player. But if you get the call, you know why he's calling.
If Kyle can free up that space is 9 times 7, are you okay with that for Pietrangelo? 9 times 7 at 31, soon to be a 31-year-old.
I'm not okay with it. But it gives them a chance to be a much better team. I wouldn't like the deal, but it makes them a lot better team, and they are going nowhere if they don't find 2 top 4 defensemen for me. Nowhere. They're going nowhere.
So Pietrangelo may not even be enough adding.
No, I don't think he's enough, but and what else can you do if you get him? What else can you bring in? You got Riley, Muzzin, Pietrangelo, and who else? Dermott's
going to come in with a qualifying offer. He buys you some time.
Yeah. And
Now,
I mean, or do you go, or do you just to change it here? Do you say, okay, I'm going to bring Tanev in, and what do I have to pay to bring Tanev in from Vancouver? Is that a more reasonable way to go? It's not comparable player for player, in my opinion, but Tanev's in a contract battle right now in Vancouver. Apparently, it's not going well. Is that a direction you consider?
Well,
Pittsburgh,
there was
Tanev, Vegas, Tanev. Where does Tanev end up? He's another guy that played real well this year.
There was some reports that talks hadn't really started a couple of days ago, and then there were some suggestions that they wouldn't start at all and he'd be free to go. But the sense that you get is that Tanev is very much still a priority. You just can't get to it right now without knowing what the deal is with Markstrom.
Yeah, I think Tanev. I think Tanev is still a priority for the Vancouver Canucks. I really do. Look, he cannot not be a priority when he was that important in the Hughes development. But what would scare me here is who was better for who? Was Tanev better for Hughes, or was Hughes better for Tanev? That's the $1 million question.
I know how I'd negotiate if I was Tanev.
Exactly. I helped the kids so much.
He needs me bad.
Big time. And Tanev was good. And I know they would like to have him. He was at, 4.6 or so this year on his deal. But how much can you pay Tanev? You sure as hell can't. What does he want? $6 million?
The starting point is $6 million.
And who? I'm not doing that. Sorry.
Well,
I'm not doing that.
I don't think many are going to go at $6 million.
No, I don't either. So,
but 5.2, 5.25.
Well, I would hope that that he comes in, and I hope Tanev is a Vancouver Canuck. It means something to me that he's a heart and soul Canucker. I just think that he's got an opportunity at 30 years of age to play with Hughes for the next number of years. I mean, it could be a good fit, but you can't undersell yourself either if you're Tanev. You've got to get what you think value-wise. I'm not paying him $6. Not a snowball's chance I'm giving him $6. Not when I got Hughes coming and Pedersen coming and all the rest of them coming down the pipe, and you haven't got your goaltender signed. The goaltender is an easier one. Actually, Tanev and the goaltender are both easier deals than we think, Nick, because I really believe this. You sign them both if you're Vancouver, because there's a very, very good chance if you sign them both, you make the playoffs, you can have a playoff run next year, and you're going to lose one or the other to Seattle. You're going to lose Tanev, or you're going to lose Markstrom to Seattle a year from now. And it doesn't affect you long-term to sign your guys. Now, if you don't lose both of them, that's a problem. But, that's what Jimmy Benning probably is weighing. How much can I put out and be stuck with long-term? But this is a situation where Seattle may help. You get Tanev for a year, and you cut a deal with Seattle to take him in a year's time. Or you get Markstrom for a year, and you cut a deal with Seattle to take Markstrom in a year's time. Maybe that's what has to be done.
Well,
we're just trying to help management out on both sides and, help the player here.
There have been ties to Tanev with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right. We do know that we started at the top of the show talking about a potential Patrick Hornquist trade for Mike Matheson from the Florida Panthers. If Pittsburgh gets their guy at $4.6 million for the next 6 years, and that's what Matheson has on his contract, there wouldn't be a need for Tanev in Pittsburgh. Tanev would be a good fix if you fall short of Pietrangelo in Toronto. There's no question that they could use a type of guy like that. Yeah,
but he's got to come in at the right number. But that's why the Matheson thing bothers me, because how do you do a deal for Matheson? Does that mean you're out of? I mean, if you're out of Tanev, if you take in Matheson, although it's money in, money out with Hornquist, but still it's a body up front. I like Tanev. Look, Tanev played well this year, man. He was such a heart and soul guy, but Hughes made him a better player. He didn't get hit as much. He didn't play in his own end as much because of Hughes. And Hughes was a good young player because of Taneff's guidance as well. So it was a good 1-2 punch. The Canucks want him back. I know. I really believe that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and staying healthy is a little bit of a concern with Tanev as well. He's run in some bad luck the last few years. And he's got some mileage on that body, but there's no question, Mac, that boy, oh boy, Hughes would miss him next year. Yeah. Again, that's the way I'm negotiating. If I'm
so Chris. The Leafs are back up because they're in the mix for Tanev now. They're in it for Pietrangelo. The Leafs are in it for everybody, and we haven't even mentioned Vegas yet, who I can guarantee you want Pietrangelo too. So that'll be fun to watch. I mean, while Bill Foley, the owner in Vegas, is not a happy camper bowing out like they did, and they would be tough meetings at the end of the year in Vegas with Wild Bill. So,
did you catch Bill Armstrong's press conference? You know, Mac, he's not going to Arizona to get a tan. But I will say this after seeing him, he could use one.
If what we're hearing is going to happen in Arizona, he will get a tan just from the red light going on. So, Bill, stay the hell away from the red light near the net if you don't want a tan, because we hear they're going to clean house. Chomlison's already turned down his no trade or no movement. He's not going anywhere. He likes Arizona. There's some guys there that they would love to move. But how many rebuilds? Do we have to go through another rebuild in Arizona?
Yes, we do.
And I would like to know his 90-page book he presented. I like Bill Armstrong, by the way. I think he's a hell of a scout. He's a good hockey man.
Okay.
He presented a 90-page book, you had said.
This is not a shot against Bill Armstrong. I'm just saying this as a general conversation, Mac, is sometimes when you've been around and you're a top amateur scout and you're very good at it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to be a general manager at the pro level. And I'm not suggesting that Bill Armstrong's not ready or he can't do this. He can turn out to be fantastic, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way when you take people like, his strength is the amateur scouting.
Well, look, Paul Fenton had a great scouting background, and he had a strong assistant management background. Minnesota really didn't give him a chance for whatever reason. He survived, 1 year, and they put the run to him. He moves now on to Florida. Is he? Florida is where he is now.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It doesn't always work out. The challenge that Bill Armstrong has here, and I think he's a thorough hockey guy. I think he's paid his dues. I'm glad to see him get a chance. I love seeing a guy like Bill get a job versus some of these other jaloonies that haven't done anything and get jobs. So I'm glad that they went that way. The challenge Bill Armstrong has is, what is the budget going to be? The players didn't get their meal money, for God's sake, in the bubble. They haven't paid. Yes. They were late.
I told you that last week.
Come on. I mean, what budget is he going to have to work with to give Bill a chance to be successful?
He's got no prospects. He's got no draft choices, and he's got no money.
That's a bad trio.
That's 0 for 3 going into building a championship.
That sounds like when you called me about this job. It was.
That's the way I presented it.
I've got no money. I got no picks. But do you want a job, Doug? Yeah. Great. Anyways, some of us that are desperate take it.
You can't even afford good hangers, for God's sakes. God.
I'm kidding. That's not what you said. Anyhow, it's going to be fun. Yeah, well, look, we've got some exciting things happening out there.
Does he try to move Ekman Larson?
Have you looked at his contract and what he's done the last year or two?
Yeah, it's a
tough contract.
Yeah, Chaika didn't leave him a whole heck of a lot.
And Chaika was getting a promotion somewhere else. Oh my God, what is going on? But anyway, it's okay.
It's okay. Anywhere else you want to go, or is that good for you?
I just one final thing. Is it really true that Connor McDavid got 1 vote for the Hart Trophy? Is that true? Connor McDavid got 1 first-place vote for the Hart Trophy. Please tell me that's not true, Nick.
Well, Mac, I got into this a little bit with Alan May yesterday before we lost him to I think a lawnmower accident. I'm not sure what happened, Alan, yesterday, but you know, when you're part of a big group like the Professional Writers Association, and there's as many as 150, 170 guys voting, you're gonna get some guys off the board.
Yeah.
Is that a nice way for me to say that?
I get McKinnon. I mean, when McDavid doesn't make the first or second All-Star team and he gets only 1 vote for the Hart for first place, I'm sorry, I have trouble with that. But anyway, that's
maybe his Fenwick wasn't great, or the Corsi.
It was off. It was off. I mean,
something was off, Mac.
Something was off. Something
block enough shots.
I was reading an analytics article yesterday ripping Hedman for his 5-on-5 play, and he was playing defense with Ruutu. I mean, he was with Ruutu, and he's getting ripped for his 5-on-5 play. Like, give me a friggin' break.
No. How about Draisaitl, one of the worst defensively? That's someone kept him off a top 5 in voting because he sucks defensively with that blue line and that goaltending.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that was my last question for the day, and I didn't have the answer. I was just asking if it was true because I can't freaking believe it is.
It's not like it's a pressing need.
No.
When it comes to the awards, they're nice. No. It's nice to acknowledge, but at the end of the day, it's someone's preference, it's their opinion, and they're entitled.
There's only one other thing I want to get into, maybe next time we're on, is how can Mark Messier have a trophy named after him, and Orr and Gretzky and Howe don't have one named after them? That's all. And I think Mess should have one for leadership, but how can Mess have it and Gretzky and Orr and Howe not have one?
I know, but it's not apples to apples.
Okay, that's all I need.
We've got historic. Those are newer awards brought into the National Hockey League, and the Ted Lindsay as well. Mac. It used to be named after an airport in Toronto. Did you get that joke? I gave that one to Alan yesterday. And we changed it. We were smart enough to go from Lester B. Pearson to Ted Lindsay.
He was a prime minister when I was a kid.
I know. Minister. That was my joke.
He defeated John Diefenbaker.
See, that's your heyday, right? That's in your wheelhouse. I was just a puppy back then.
Anyway, I'm just asking. But anyway, look, I'm not trying to create a storm here.
I think it's coming, Mac. I think it's coming at some point. So. I think it's important for the next generation to have names that they can kind of associate with. And I think the Gretzkys, the Bobby Orrs, even Nick Lidstrom, when you look at him and what he was able to do, even a defensive award, I think it's ready to be kind of revisited, but it's not high on the priority list right now. But I get your point. You feel better airing that out?
Yeah, I feel a little better. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I couldn't wait till Friday, so I just wanted to throw that out there. But anyway.
Okay, so you got Dallas tonight.
I got Dallas
going
tonight.
Up 2-1. That'll make things very interesting moving forward.
I love it.
Okay. All right, Mac. Great effort today.
Thanks,
Came in with lots of juice today. I love it. All right, what's up for the rest of the day, by the way? You going to sell any condos?
No, we got the tropical storm going through here, so I got to stop and pick up some ribs. Have some ribs tonight. I'm doing a little shopping.
Some people would get like sandbags and board up their windows. You go get ribs.
Ribs and wine.
Ribs and wine. It's not like it's a show for you.
No, but we're safe. We're safe. The storm surge, I put new granite rocks all across the front of the property this year. So we're safe on the storm surge. So
storm surge. Is it anything like the Carolina hurricane storm surge? Will you go out there and do a little presentation, a show? Would you do that for your neighbors?
No, I'm just going to. Let's just hope everybody's safe and have to be careful here in these tropical storms.
Yes, we're joking around.
Yes,
but that is first and foremost. Everybody out there, be safe, be smart. Yeah. Don't think of your stomach like Doug. All right, Doug Maclean out of Summerside, PEI. Thanks, Mac.
Thanks, man.
Okay, that was episode 50. Yes, it's true. We've got 50 under our belt and many more to go, including tomorrow. For all of you, thanks for joining us. Give us a like. Smash that like button for Doug Maclean. And hopefully Mac stay safe during the storm. And we will see everybody here at noon tomorrow.